Hey ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be Mr. Lewis's first engineering video. I'm going to show you all how to make this whole windshield majigger there. I'm going to do this in two parts. I'm going to show you how to do this part, just making the actual top of the windshield itself, and then we'll go back, scroll all the way through, and do this bottom part, this sticking off part right here. So I'm going to take you all the way up to the shell in this video, and then we'll skip into this. So first of all, this description here that they're telling you to use, telling you to make some little, just make two arcs that are about the same size and then pick out where the endpoints are. I mean, you can do that. It definitely works. I did it a second ago. I figured it out. It works okay, and it gives you, fully constrained on the first try. But when you look at the actual dimension drawing, this has this nice setup with a whole bunch of different dimensions here. And it really reminds you of, well, these are just points. You got 0, 0, and then you go up and over some, and up and over some, and up and over some, and so on and so forth. So why don't we just go ahead and put points on there first? So let's do it that way. So this will be a little bit different than the actual instructions, so that you have two possible ways to do it. First, I want you to notice here that I've gone ahead and made myself a project. I called it 5.2 practice. You'll call yours something more legitimate. So let's make a new part here. So start a sketch, XY plane, all the usual stuff. Zoom out a little bit because I don't want to. All right. Start off with that bottom line. That bottom line. Oops. Let's use this picture. We know that bottom line needs to be. Oops. Well, okay. Yeah. Might as well have this pulled up. 3.04 inches long, all the way across the bottom. So let me go back to Inventor, and let's just make ourselves a line. I always like to start at 0, 0, and it'll be especially important when I show you here in a second. 3.04. Okay, that's okay. Zoom in on this here line. Okay. Now, this is the point where the Inventor instructions, or I'm sorry, the Project Lead the Way instructions tell you to just make some arcs. This one, and this one. And then dimension them later. Instead, since we know that the arc tool up here, needs to have endpoints, this is an endpoint, and the other endpoint's somewhere over here. Well, let's just put it. We've got this point tool, so this shows coordinates on the screen when I pull it up. So here's what let's do. We know that the top of this arc needs to be 2.55 over and 1 up from this edge here. So keeping that in mind, let's go back. This point is, well, it's 3.040. If I hit my tab key, now the X is highlighted, just like whenever we draw something normally. I want this point to be at that number minus 2.55, because I want to go over 2.55, and then I want that number to be, well, I want it to be 1. Bam. There's my point. It has appeared where I want it. I'm going to do the same thing for this point. This point needs to be 0.64 up, and, well, they have drawn it with reference to this corner all the way over here, so that's fine. It needs to be 0.64 up and 3.01 over from the far right corner. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to do a point, just to make sure I'm on that. Go down here. Tab. I want this number minus 3.01. Forget that. We know what that is. It's 0.03. That's easy subtraction. And I want this one. Oh crap, what was this number? It was 0.64. Alright, there we are. 0.64. Bam. There's my other point. So now our arcs are a whole lot easier to work with. First of all, double check here, because you know that this arc is going to ask for a radius. So this radius is 6. This radius is also 6. And the middle one is 0.4. So let's make all three of those arcs using the points that we now have set up, which makes things a lot easier. So that arc tool, make sure you're on the 3.1. I'm going to go from here to here, and I'm going to bow that, and there where it's highlighted, I'm going to type 6. Let's do the same thing from here to here. Bow it this way, type 6. And finally, let's go here to there. Bow it that way, 0.4, done. Okay, now, it's still green. Green means we don't have it fully constrained. It will probably extrude right now, but just to be sure, let's go back and double check something here real quick. So the next thing that Project Lead the Way suggests that you do, that's not Project Lead the Way, get out of there. They tell you to add not dimensional constraints, but tangent constraints. And you're definitely going to want those, because otherwise you won't notice it right away, but when you go to try to do your fillets later, it's going to do a lot of weird stuff. So let's just avoid that entirely. So let's do our tangent constraint right here. See, tangent contains curves. I want this one and this one, and this one with this one. Okay, still green, not done yet. So here's what I'm going to check. Whenever you're trying to figure out what it's still mad about, you can right-click on your piece and tell it display degrees of freedom. So it shows me this arrow. This thing can still somehow move left and right, and it can still move up and down, and it's mad that this can still go around in circles. So I can partially fix that problem. And in a really hand-wavy way, I'm going to hide the degrees of freedom again because I don't want to see them. I'm just going to dimension this point. It took me a little bit of just guesswork to figure this out, but again, once you get used to this program, you'll think of things like this. So I'm going to dimension this from there to here. And I don't want it to be a different number than this. I want it to be that number. So I'm just going to click and say, OK. Not good enough? Well, OK. Now let's go and dimension from here to the corner down. And yeah, that's how far I want it to be. I don't want to move it, so enter. OK, now it's happy. Didn't have to really change anything. I just had to tell it, oh yeah, that's the correct dimension. So now I have this, finish sketch. Let's extrude it. How far does it need to be extruded? Well, hold on, check it out. It's 2.55 according to this picture. The blockish extrusion. All right, whatever, inventor. So let's call this 2.55. Okay, that's too close. All right. I don't know how I got this color, but I kind of like it. Oh, wait, surface body. How have I done this? Control Z, undo. No, I don't want to revolve. I do not want to revolve. I want to extrude. Let's check that menu here. I have it set as surface. Definitely want this set as a solid. Let's get this back again. I want to go 2.55. No, I want a solid. What? Oh, new solid. Profile. This one. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Let's try something here real quick. That is a new message. I'm going to go back into that sketch. What is not... Is it mad about this point? Let's just delete that point. I can't delete that point. Okay. How about if I just fix that point? Adding will overconstrain. Nope, can't do that. Alright, something is wrong. What's not closed here? Is that not closed? Whoops. I have a gap here. How did I get a gap there? Well, I can fix this problem. Let's just do an extend. There we go. No, not that. No. Let's extend this a different way. Let's extend that one. Extend. There we go. That's better. Okay. Let's check here at the other gap point. Nope, nothing there. All right. Now let's see if we can extrude. There we are. That's a solid. Okay. Problem solving. Good to see in action. It's 2.55. There we are. So I have my solid now. Almost all the way complete. Get back to the home page. That's not where I want you. But I still need to do the second part, which is to shell it out. So I want to make this... Oh, sorry. Next action is actually to fillet it. So let's take that fillet to 0.5 inches. That's a simple enough task. Fillet. Click this side. Click that side. Change it to 0.5. Done. Fill it over. Simplest step you could possibly do. Here we are. Look at that all the way around. Look at that fillet. Such a classy fillet. Now let's do that shell. So let's come underneath because we know when to shell it from the bottom. For those of you that don't know, I'm just holding the shift button and then clicking the mouse button to make this roll like this. Alright, let's use that shell tool that I showed you all today. I'm going to click on the inside. Actually, I don't need to because it's already assumed that. Open up this menu so I can look. Faces are fine. It wants to know a thickness. What thickness do we want? Oh, where's it going to tell us that? Shelled enclosure to the measured thickness. I don't know the measured thickness. Let's go back to the drawing. Here we go. Right there. That thickness is 0.07. So back to Inventor. This 0.07. No. 0.07. Done. Why didn't it shell? Do that again. Could not create a shell. Cancel. What has happened? It says I did a shell. Why is it not showing? It clearly shows the outline of the shell. Let's delete that shell. Try again. Shell. Face. From the bottom. There. That looks good. That looks real good. There we are. Check. Okay. All kinds of weird errors today. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, we've got the first part as expected. This looks like it's supposed to. It's all shelled out at the bottom. So the next video that I show you will be to add that piece to the bottom. So tune into that one if you need help with that.